Jesse Coy here with Coaching Distance. And one of the books I've been rereading is Running My Way by Harry Wilson. And it's a tough book to get. You would have to go on maybe eBay or Amazon to try to find this. I've had this copy for several years and I take really good care of it because I think it's expensive to buy a new one the last time I checked. For sure, over $30, which actually I think was a bargain. I'm not sure what I paid for this one, but if you can get this book, well worth it. Running My Way by Harry Wilson. Now, the agenda for this little talk, who is Harry Wilson? First, second, he talks about speed in the base phase. Third topic on the agenda, fartlek training. Fourth, variable pace repetitions, which I think is a pretty cool concept that he talks about in the book. And lastly, the weekly cycle and how he fits all of this training into a week. Let's get started. Harry Wilson. So, Harry Wilson was the coach of Steve Ovett, and Steve Ovett was a British runner in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, who was unbelievable. What I like about Steve Ovett is something in our training plans, coaching distance training plans. His range was incredible. So he ran, and this was in the late 70s, early 80s, 144.09 in the 800 meters, 330.77 in the 1500, and 1320.06 in the 5K. So his range was very, very, very impressive. Um, Five world records, if I haven't said that already, was an Olympic gold medalist in the 800 meters and a bronze in the 1500 meters. So Harry Wilson's most famous for coaching Steve Ovett. And like I said before, I love that range, the concept of range, because we all know that being faster, being fit, and being faster both is kind of one of the secrets to being able to win races. So he talks about speed in the base phase, which if you have looked at any of the off-season training plans, you'll always see speed in the base phase. The new one, the 2026 off-season cross-country plan, you'll see it every Monday and every Thursday. Um, and here's what I'm just going to read a little bit from his book. This is from Harry Wilson's book. I also include a small amount of pure speed work in the endurance phase. I think it is useful to keep the fast twitch muscle fitness ticking over and to retain the sensations of the sprinting technique. I also suggest including some technique drills and leg strengthening exercises on the occasions when you do speed work. The balance of training during the endurance phase is shown in the table. So he goes to show the type of speed work that he was using back in the late 70s, early 80s. So he sprint drills here, and I'm going to read through them all because it's some of you will be listening to this. I'm watching it, but he talks about sprint drills, starting out with 3 by 60 meters of relaxed stride, jogging back between each stride. Then it moves into 3 by 60 meters, starting slowly and gradually accelerating. So accelerations until you're sprinting over the last 10 meters. And he talks about walking slowly back between each effort. 3 by 30 meter high knees. This exercise should be done slowly, emphasizing length of time that the leading leg is held high. 3 by 60 meters of bounding. So he talks about bounding, talks about being on a soft surface, a flat-footed landing, trying to maintain a long, high lift of the leading leg and jogging back between. Then he moves on after this to 3 by 30 meters of very short, quick strides, kind of a pitter patter, he calls it. Then he goes 3 by 60 meters where it's 20 meters fast, 20 meters stride, 20 meters fast. Now, these are exactly like the sprint float sprints that we have in the coaching distance plans. Next, he has 3 by 60 meters split, 20 meters stride, 20 meters fast, 20 meters stride. So he just flips that in half. Then the last part of it, 3 by 60 meters sprinting all out from a standing start, walking back slowly between each one. So this was, what is this, like 30 some years ago. And he was doing stuff that with speed work in his base phase that is making a comeback now. So one of the things, and if you've studied training to an extent, you'll always see that what's old becomes new, and there's a cycle that goes over and over. So anyone who thinks that they're being super fancy with adding speed work, here's an example: late 70s, early 80s. Harry Wilson did it with Steve Ovett with a lot of success. Okay. But I love this example. Gives me a picture of exactly what this looked like. And we'll see at the end of this talk where he actually puts this in his training plan. Fartlek training, one of the next things he talks about. Now, Harry Wilson, the fartlek training he's talking about looks way different than anything I've ever seen. There's a ton of variety in this, and the example you'll see, I love it, but there is a lot of variety. Would be hard to program for like a group of people, but if you have a course and you just have a few people that you're coaching, I think it's possible. So variety, what I'm talking about there is this fartlek training has everything from like easy running to like repetitions of short all out sprinting. And it's not, like I said before, it's not anything that I've ever really seen anywhere else. It's not like the traditional Kenyan type fartlek of one on, one off, or two on, one off, three on, one off. It's much different than that. And um, it's kind of like a bigger variety, but also more work than I think I've seen in fartlek training before. So this picture comes out of the book. And for those of you who are listening, I'm going to go through everything so you can picture this in your head. So this is like a fartlek course almost that he has set up, and 1,500 meters stride on a flat surface. So I'm thinking like 1,500 meters steady, going into a 600-meter jog recovery. And this is just an example. I don't know if he ever actually did exactly this. Um, but as I go through it, you can have this picture in your mind of what he's talking about when he talks about fartlek work. Then it goes into 400 meters fast, 200-meter jog, 400 meters fast. And then it goes into 200-meter jog, 600-meter hard, 200 jog, 1,000 striding, 400-meter jog. And then he has what I like here, 4 by 80 meters up a steep hill. So 4 by 80-meter hill sprints with jogging back down the hill. Then it goes back 1,500 meters steady, kind of on a hilly surface, 300-meter jog. Then it goes through some fast work again, 3 by 100 meters sprints, as fast as you can, jog back recovery. 600-meter hard on a flat surface, 200-meter jog, 400 meters up a hill, 400 meters down, 1,000-meter stride on a flat surface, and then 1,200 meters easy. So he has a course. Obviously, like it'd be silly to think you would copy exactly this, but this must have been a course Harry Wilson had with landmarks. I'm guessing maybe using cones. I don't know for sure, but him using his environment, using this fartlek course, and putting all these different elements in there, which I really like. I think if you had, like I'm picturing, we have access to one trail that's kind of a loop of 1,200 meters, and maybe I could do something like this. And maybe you have something in mind where you could set up a kind of fartlek like this. It also almost sounds like one of Canova's hill circuits that he's done, except Canova included exercises in that as well. But I think the main point of this is he's including a lot of different kinds of work, a variety of work, and the whole thing combined. There's not like really any walking in this. Is really an aerobic endeavor. This would be an aerobic type of workout, but just including a bunch of different things. Variable paced reps. So this is also something I really liked rereading this book. And he calls them split intervals, to where you're splitting the interval. Some of these are just split in half. I'll read the examples here he has. So for an 800-meter runner, a two flat runner, an example he has here is 3 by 400 meters split. So here's what that means. First 200 meters of it, Now remember, this is 3 by 400 meters to work out. So the first 200 meters of it, 32, 33 seconds. So steady. Okay. But then the last, so maybe mile pace. Then the last 200 meters is fast, 27 to 28 seconds. Takes a long 4 to 5 minute recovery and then does it again. I think this is like such a cool thing to add maybe after a threshold workout where you don't want a lot of volume of work, but you want to end with something a little bit faster and also something that mimics what may happen in a race. So I love this concept of split intervals. I'll go down to another one here, 1500-meter runner with a personal best of 4 minutes. So for 17 miler, and he has 4 by 600 meters split up. First 300 meters steady, 51, 52 seconds. And then the last 300 meters is fast, 45 to 46 seconds. And then again, he takes up 4 to 5 minutes recovery. I do love this concept though, because it's exactly what you see in races, especially cranking up the last lap. In this case, the last 600 meters to where that is a skill you can practice. So I love this concept of split intervals. And I think, especially during track, I want to add something like this next spring. Okay. A couple, and I'm just going to put this, I'm going to add this to it. It's just on the second page of this, these tired surges, tired as in like being tired, surges as in surging. The first part of the repetition I'm reading here is run at a fast pace. It's followed by a short jog, which gives you partial recovery. And then comes an attempt to surge into a fast finish, even though you're feeling tired. So kind of these hollow runs, as some people call them, and almost like that sprint float sprint concept. So for an 800-meter runner, he has 400 meters fast, a little bit faster than race pace, a 100-meter jog, and then a 100-meter sprint. And he says maybe suggesting 4 reps with 6 to 8 minutes recovery. One of the workouts I know my brother's coach had, he was a national champion in the 1,000 meters, is they would do, I think it was a hollow 600, something like this, where it'd be, I want to say like 300 fast, 100 float, 200 fast. And that might not be exactly what the workout was, but it was a workout they would do at the end of the season that gave them a lot of confidence, being able to finish fast off of after already being tired. Weekly cycles, the last part here. It's always interesting to see how coaches put workouts together into a week, into a 2 week cycle. Now, this, I will just tell you, this was a good use for ChatGPT. I took a picture of the page with the workout cycles on it, and I had ChatGPT type it out for me so that I didn't have to do that. I double checked it. They did a good job. Chat did a good job. So it is laid out here. This is copied off chat. I just submitted my photo. Hopefully I didn't use too much water. And it just spit this out for me so I didn't have to type it out. So December being like kind of the real base phase here. 7 miles, medium, 5 miles, fast to steady. Okay, you can see some just typical aerobic type running. Saturday is 6 by 1K circuit. And with some further reading on Harry Wilson, Steve Ovett, like this would usually be off the track. And I think that's why he called it a circuit, just because it might be a measured grass loop or something like that. 1 minute jog between, 20-minute rest. And then it goes back to, so mobility exercises. And then it goes back to that page we covered at the beginning, those sprint drills and sprint work. So he does that after this hard workout. Okay. Now, personally, I would put that somewhere else in the week, but he still adds it, and it's after that Saturday workout. January gives a sample of January here. First 4 weeks of January. Well, there is probably 4 weeks in January. So the 4 weeks of January. This Monday is kind of this medium steady state run. Tuesday, I like this. It's like a split up tempo run. And I've also seen this in like Nick Symmonds training logs. 4 miles fast, so 4 miles like tempo, 1 mile easy, and then 1 mile fast. So this is like a cool way to break up a continuous tempo run, which I really want to try this, especially with younger kids. Instead of doing that continuous tempo, and this would also be cool. Like, let's say you had a group that was um, maybe different levels or different ages of kids where you wanted them to run together as much as possible. Maybe you could have them go 3 miles tempo, and then some group stops at the end of their workout. The other, or maybe they go a mile cool down, which is also the mile easy for the group going 4 miles. And then they're done after that. The younger group is done after that 1 mile easy. And then the older kids maybe do that last mile at tempo. So I think that's how I would use that in like with a group of high school kids. Wednesday, kind of that actually like a medium long run almost 10 miles, easy to steady. Um, and when he talks about like that easy steady state, looking back at like in the book and elsewhere, that was pretty easy running actually. Like he had heart rates, I believe, in like the 140s to 150s, which is pretty easy running. Thursday, 8 miles, maybe a little bit quicker, that medium steady state run. Friday, he has a lot of Fridays off in his schedule. And then Saturday, like just adding volume to that circuit, but then also doing those sprint drills there. Sunday, 10 miles easy. And I also think something that like I notice here for sure is the absence of like a really long run. Um, and that's something I think about a lot. Like, is that something that you really need? If you're doing like he has two really good quality days in here and other runs that are longer. Like, do you need a super long run? Like, it's a question I ask myself all the time. Um, I know it sounds weird, but I do ask myself that a lot. February, I think the only thing you see different here is he kind of adds a day of quality. So Thursday has that split up tempo run. Tuesday's like 4x1500, like on that grass circuit. And then Saturday is that 8x1K. And I kind of think these are on grass when he calls it a circuit. I don't think it's on the track. March looks a little bit different there. And maybe it is on the track. I don't know. I was born in 1980. I didn't see any of this take place. Monday, that 6 miles, medium steady state run. Then Tuesday goes into the workout. Wednesday, a little bit farther, almost like that concept of a medium long run. And then that Thursday and Saturday, kind of that Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday quality that you see in other places as well. With every other week, like being a race if possible, cross country or 5K, 10K, because they also used to race more back in the day. Hopefully you like that. I'll try to share some more of these this summer. Some books I'm reading or things that I think might interest you. Check out coachingdistance.com. There is a ton of stuff on there for coaches. You can join the D crew, just $14.99 a month. I make it super cheap because I think I just want to help coaches. Any questions, ask me, Jesse at coachingdistance.com.